In just 2 decades, more than 130 million farmers have left their fields, yet global food production has still increased by over 40%. This paradox reveals a silent but profound transformation in modern agriculture, when humans no longer rely solely on muscle and instinct, but on data, automation, and an ever deeper understanding of nature. And right now, join us as we step into the era of smart farming, where technology is pushing productivity to levels the world has never seen before. The entire United States is stirring over the latest turbulence in the soybean market. Yet while prices rise and fall across the vast Midwest, the heart of American agriculture, thousands of giant combine harvesters continue to roar through the autumn fields. With headers stretching over 40 feet wide, these mechanical behemoths skim the ground, sweeping every soybean stalk into their processing systems. Inside, dual rotating drums and precision airflow systems operate at astonishing speeds, separating the beans cleanly with a throughput of over 30 tons per hour. But what truly sets them apart lies in their sensor and real-time data systems, which measure yield, moisture, and seed density with pinpoint accuracy, forming the foundation for yield mapping and precision farming in future seasons. Every summer in sunny California, vast fig orchards grow heavy with glossy, deep purple fruit, all harvested entirely by hand. For low branches, pickers gently twist the stem between thumb and forefinger, allowing the fig to detach naturally without tearing its delicate skin. For fruit higher up, they use picking poles. A light tap on the branch is enough for fully ripe figs to drop softly onto canvas sheets spread below, before being gathered into baskets. From there, the figs are chilled within 2 hours of harvest to preserve their juiciness, honeyed sweetness, and signature aroma, ready to supply fine dining restaurants and gourmet brands around the world. In North Carolina, the largest tobacco-growing region in the United States, the days of dozens of workers bending over to cut each leaf by hand are long gone. Now, a single dicloate harvester rolling through the field sets the entire crop in motion with mechanical precision. One machine can maneuver smoothly between 2 dense rows while operating with accuracy down to each individual leaf. At the front, hydraulic pressure sensing clamps automatically detect the leaf's ripeness and softness, gently detaching it from the stem without even shaking the plant. Inside, a variable pressure airflow system works in tandem with a dual dust filtration chamber, continuously cleaning and pre-sorting the harvest. The result: each leaf remains golden, intact, and perfectly moist, ready for the signature flue curing process that defines premium tobacco. This technology not only cuts labor costs by more than 60%, but also ensures that every leaf is uniform, clean, and export grade, proving that mechanization doesn't just replace human labor, it elevates the quality and precision of the entire industry. In the United States, the seaweed harvest season begins when the underwater kelp forests turn a deep amber brown, the sign that the blades have thickened and reached peak nutritional value. Spring comes alive as flat-deck, low-hulled boats equipped with hydraulic winches and specialized spool rollers set out across the cold Atlantic. Upon reaching the cultivation lines, workers secure their gear to the main polypropylene rope, the backbone of the sea farm, suspended about 1 meter below the surface, where the kelp absorbs maximum sunlight without getting sunburned. With a single pull of the hydraulic lever, the spools begin to rotate, hauling up hundreds of meters of golden brown kelp onto the deck. From that moment, it becomes a race against time. Each frond must be cleaned, chilled, and transported ashore within 6 hours, before oxidation darkens the blades, softens their texture, and robs them of their premium commercial value. The prickly pear cactus, a proud symbol of Mexico's semi-arid landscapes, is a master of drought survival, yet also among the most challenging fruits to harvest on Earth. By late summer, when the fruit turns a brilliant orange-red and the spines begin to dry and stiffen, pickers must don thick jackets, heavy gloves, and full face coverings to collect the sweetest fruit before the skins split or birds claim them first. The golden window for harvesting lasts only 4 to 6 weeks, but each fruit bristles with hundreds of tiny barbed spines, called glochids, capable of piercing gloves and severely irritating the skin. For that reason, harvesters use long metal tongs to snip each stem without ever touching the surface, careful not to bruise the delicate skin or release the milky sap that can dehydrate the plant and damage its tissue, preventing it from bearing fruit in the next season. Even a single cassava root can be dangerous if not harvested properly. When a hoe or blade cuts into the outer layer containing cyanogenic glycosides, the sap can release hydrocyanic acid, a toxin capable of causing poisoning within minutes. Despite the risk, manual harvesting is still common on small farms. Farmers rely on experience to judge ripeness, then use a machete or hand axe to cut around the base and pull each root carefully, avoiding cracks that cause oxidation and reduce quality. But the process is slow and exhausting. Cassava has woody stems and deep, clinging roots, demanding strength and precision. Heavy reliance on manual labor keeps costs high and yields low, making large-scale production a constant struggle between human effort and the soil itself. In regions of intensive cultivation, like Thailand, which supplies more than 30 million tons of cassava roots each year, the harvest process has been almost completely automated. Modern cassava harvesters can cut stems, dig roots, and collect the tubers in a single pass. Thanks to depth sensors and self-adjusting hydraulic systems, the machines lift the roots intact, without rupturing the cyanide-bearing sap layer, boosting productivity to 2 to 3 tons per hour. Though the initial investment is high, the speed, safety, and superior efficiency of these machines have made them the key to turning cassava into a strategic global crop for starch, ethanol, and food production. After nearly 10 months underground, when the stalks and leaves turn yellow and a faint spicy scent drifts through the air, Shandong Province, China's largest ginger-growing region, enters its busiest season of the year. Because ginger roots branch in complex clusters, farmers use small hand hoes to loosen the soil around each plant, carefully cutting in a circle around the rhizome to avoid breaking any offshoots. Once lifted from the earth, the clumps are shaken clean and neatly stacked in the shade to retain moisture and prevent dehydration. From there, trucks loaded with hundreds of tons of fresh ginger line up and roll out of the fields, carrying not just a crop, but the livelihood of tens of thousands of Shandong farmers who have dedicated their lives to this remarkable root. New Holland broad harvesters are designed specifically for vine crops with delicate berry-like fruit, adaptable simply by changing the shaking head and collection trays. With a high clearance frame and an open working bay, these machines can weave effortlessly through perfectly aligned vineyard rows, even maintaining stability on steep slopes. Instead of cutting, the harvester vibrates at 400 to 500 cycles per minute, powered by a 175 horsepower engine, strong enough to detach each ripe grape from its stem, yet gentle enough to preserve the thin skin intact. Inside, soft roller conveyors and variable pressure air blowers act as a living filtration system, removing leaves, stems, and dust without bruising the fruit. A single unit can harvest over 20 tons of grapes per hour, the equivalent of 40 manual pickers. This mechanization embodies the power of speed and scale. a complete opposite of hand-picking, yet forms the backbone of global production for everyday wines and industrial-grade juice. But for premium grape varieties destined for fine wine production and fresh export, harvesting must still be done entirely by hand. In California, when the grape clusters turn a deep violet hue and become coated with a natural powdery bloom, hundreds of workers spread across the vineyards, armed with small, razor-sharp shears to cut each bunch with precision. Once detached from the vine, every cluster is inspected for skin integrity and potential spoilage before being gently placed into shallow, padded trays to prevent bruising. Thanks to this meticulous care, California continues to produce over 6 million tons of fresh grapes each year, forming the backbone of both its premium wine industry and the global market for high-quality table grapes. Lychee is one of the most delicate fruits to harvest. Delay the picking by just 2 or 3 days, and the skin darkens while the flesh softens as respiration rapidly increases. That's why, when the peel shifts from green to red, growers in the southern orchards must begin picking immediately. In their hands, a small pruning shear becomes an essential tool, sharp enough to cut through semi-woody branches, yet precise enough not to bruise the stem. Each cluster must also be harvested according to export standards, keeping the 2-inch stem to reduce moisture loss, prevent bruising, and maintain the fruit's vibrant red color during long-distance transport. A bountiful lychee season brings not only the heat and energy of the tropics, but also the rhythm of a thriving trade. Thousands of motorbikes loaded with fresh lychees stream toward wholesale markets, fueling an industry projected to surpass $9 billion within the next 3 years. Every year, around 6,000 combine harvesters are sold across the United States to serve small seed crops such as sesame, sunflower, and soybeans. Originally designed for taller plants about 1 to 1.5 meters high, these machines must be extensively recalibrated when used for sesame, a much shorter, more fragile crop with pods that shatter easily. During this adjustment, the drum speed is reduced, the airflow softened, and the sieve trays padded, allowing the machine to gently separate the seeds instead of striking them. Thanks to this precision tuning, the harvester can collect nearly every sesame seed without cracking or oil loss, preserving the crop's natural oil content, the very element that gives sesame its high value in the global food and vegetable oil industries. Which fruit harvest impresses you the most? For me, it has to be the durian, often regarded as the hardest fruit in the world to harvest. On trees towering 10 to 15 meters high, pickers must climb skillfully through dense branches to reach each spiky fruit weighing up to 5 kilograms. Before cutting, they tap the shell with the handle of a knife. The sound, whether dull or deep, reveals its ripeness. Some even smell the stem, observe the color of the spikes, or feel the cracks around the stalk. Skills that take 3 to 5 years of experience to master. Once ripe, the picker cuts the stem and drops the fruit, while a partner below holds out a large jute sack to catch it. The sack isn't fully sealed. Its rough, breathable fibers allow the spikes to grip lightly, slowing the fall. Air escapes through the woven gaps, softening the impact and almost eliminating the force of the drop, ensuring the fruit lands safely without cracking or bruising. This method is fast and efficient, preserving the natural ripeness and aroma of the fruit. Yet it demands absolute precision and teamwork. A single mistake can send the durian crashing down, destroying it and endangering the catcher's life. It is precisely this delicate harvesting technique, combined with the fruit's high nutritional value hidden beneath its infamous scent, that makes the durian one of the most prized and extraordinary fruits of the tropics. Every year, from June to early August, the peach orchards of California and South Carolina, the two largest peach-producing regions in the United States, enter their most vibrant season of the year. When the trees are covered in shades of pink and orange, hundreds of workers spread out across the orchards, carrying soft fabric baskets to pick each fruit by hand. Each peach weighs about 150 to 200 grams and bruises easily, so the entire harvest must be done manually. Pickers gently twist the stem between their thumb and forefinger, checking the fruit's ripeness by its color and fragrance before carefully placing it into the basket. Once harvested, the peaches are taken to cooling stations within less than 4 hours to preserve their crisp texture and signature aroma. In California alone, more than 250,000 tons of fresh peaches are harvested every year, most for domestic consumption, an enduring symbol of the American summer, where the sweet scent of peaches evokes the warmth of long, golden days. The John Deere combine harvesters are considered the backbone of American mechanized agriculture. Powerful, multi-purpose machines capable of harvesting everything from wheat, corn, and soybeans to sorghum, simply by changing the front header attachment. When the sorghum fields of America's Midwest turn a deep crimson red, these giant combines begin to roll. At the front, a 10-meter wide cutting header glides just above the ground, feeding the entire stalk into the processing chamber, where high-speed rotors and strong airflows separate the grain from the stalk before lifting it into the grain tank above. This front section, known as the header, is built as a modular unit that can be swapped depending on the crop. For corn, the header uses deep row grabbers designed to pull and cut tough stalks. For sorghum or wheat, it's replaced with a draper header, a flat cutting platform with a moving belt that smoothly feeds each stalk into the threshing system with precision. Sorghum may not be a common sight on the dinner table, but it's one of the most resilient and vital crops on Earth. Grown widely across Kansas, Texas, and Oklahoma, it thrives in dry, scorching lands where few other plants can survive. In your kitchen, spring onions are a familiar ingredient. But have you ever wondered how they're harvested across fields that stretch for dozens of hectares? Let's visit Denmark, the birthplace of Asa Lift, the pioneer of Europe's vegetable harvesting technology. At the front, a thin steel blade slices just below the roots, while rubber rollers gently grip the stalks and lift them from the soil. Next, an angled conveyor belt carries the onions upward, where soft rotating brushes remove dirt before neatly stacking them into crates. In just 5 minutes, a single machine can harvest over 600 meters of onion rows, up to 20 times faster than manual labor, while keeping every stalk straight, clean, and perfectly intact, ready for its journey to your local supermarket. During the bright summer months in Florida and Mexico, mango orchards reach their harvest peak when millions of golden fruits ripen at once, filling the air with their fragrance. Hand-picking remains the preferred and almost indispensable method, since each mango variety ripens differently and has a unique skin texture. Pickers must observe the color, feel the firmness, and check the stem to determine the perfect time to harvest. Low-hanging fruits are picked directly, while those high above are reached using hydraulic lifting baskets, compact in appearance but capable of extending up to 8 to 10 meters high. The platform is controlled by a small panel on the handrail, allowing pickers to raise, lower, or rotate the lift with just a few simple moves. This system boosts productivity up to 5 times compared to ladders, ensures worker safety, and protects branches from damage. After harvesting, mangoes are rinsed under gentle water jets or immersed in circulating wash tanks to remove sap and dust, then dried, sorted, and cold-packed for export. Every year, Mexico, the largest mango exporter in the Americas, supplies over 2 million tons of fresh mangoes to global markets, most of them still picked carefully by hand from orchards like these. The tree shaker is the secret weapon of America's plum orchards. Its steel arm clamps tightly around the trunk, then shakes it powerfully for a few seconds, at a frequency of up to 400 vibrations per second, causing thousands of ripe plums to rain down onto large catching tarps without damaging branches or unripe fruit. In just a few short seconds, a tree is completely harvested. From the tarps, the plums are moved directly onto conveyor belts, passing through cleaning, sorting, and packing stations right in the field. Each shaker can harvest up to 60 tons of plums per day, operating tirelessly under the summer sun. Alongside the trunk-shaking tree shakers, American farmers also use another type of machine designed for low, narrow canopy plum orchards, the canopy shaker. Its two symmetrical rotor arms vibrate at a frequency of 6 to 10 Hz, sending oscillations directly through the canopy to shake off ripe fruit without breaking branches. Beneath the trees, a closed system of catching tarps and conveyors collects the falling plums, separates leaves and debris, and transfers the clean fruit straight into storage bins. Leaving behind America and Europe, we arrive in South Korea, where the lowering of pond temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius marks the beginning of the lotus root harvest season. Harvesters wear full-body waterproof suits, thick rubber gloves, and use broad, blunt-tipped knives, tools that allow them to cut and separate rhizomes without cracking their delicate skin. Hidden beneath a thick layer of mud, each lotus stem contains 3 to 6 connected root segments, crisp, starchy, yet so fragile that even a slight touch can cause them to split. Instead of digging with shovels, farmers use high-pressure water jets to loosen the soil and gently release the roots without any mechanical impact. Once freed, the roots float to the surface, where workers gather them into wooden boats, then lift them ashore with small cranes. The process must be quick. Within just 2 to 3 hours of air exposure, the roots begin to oxidize and turn brown. Thanks to this delicate and precise technique, South Korea exports over $100 million USD worth of lotus roots each year, turning a plant born from the mud into a high-value agricultural product on the global market. When aloe vera leaves reach full maturity, about 8 to 12 months old and nearly 80 centimeters long, farmers begin harvesting. Using sharp knives, they cut each leaf close to the base, then tilt the cut end downward to drain the yellow sap containing aloe, a bitter compound that can ruin an entire batch of gel if not removed properly. Harvesting aloe requires speed and precision, as even a small bend or bruise can cause the inner gel to oxidize. Only thick, plump, unbroken leaves are considered suitable, and they are carefully placed into shallow trays or soft-lined crates to protect their delicate outer skin. On large farms, mobile harvesting conveyors run along the rows, collecting hundreds of leaves in just a few minutes, reducing manual labor by up to 70% while keeping the gel inside fresh and intact. Typically, a skilled worker can cut up to 1,000 leaves per day, but ensuring that each leaf remains firm, clean, and free of yellow sap still depends entirely on the harvester's experience. The key to the purity of every drop of aloe gel that follows. The grapefruit harvest begins when the fruit turns a uniform shade of pinkish gold, with taut, slightly textured skin. During peak season in Texas, the homeland of the famous Rio Red variety, skilled pickers gently twist each fruit along the stem, creating just enough torque for it to detach naturally without tearing the peel. But under the dry, scorching sun of the semi-desert region, time is the greatest enemy of quality. just a few hours. Delay after full ripeness can cause the skin to dull, essential oils to evaporate, and the flesh to begin drying out. That's why the entire harvest must be fast, continuous, and precise, ensuring that every grapefruit, the moment it leaves the branch, still retains its glossy, aromatic skin and the signature sweet tart flavor that has made Rio Red a beloved name across the United States. In the summer months, when rows of zucchini fields in France reach peak production, hundreds of workers head out for the biggest harvest of the year. Despite advances in mechanization, zucchini are still picked almost entirely by hand, as their thin skin and soft stems make them extremely prone to scratches and bruising. In the fields, pickers move along each row, holding the fruit with one hand and using a small knife to cut the stem cleanly with the other, making quick, precise movements to avoid tearing the glossy green skin. Each worker carries a shallow plastic crate, which, once full, is emptied onto collection trucks, moving slowly alongside the rows. To preserve freshness, harvesting takes place every 2 to 3 days, when the fruits reach about 18 to 20 centimeters in length, the golden stage for flavor and yield. On average, a skilled picker can harvest 400 to 600 kilograms per day, all done in the early morning hours when the air is cool and the fruits are still firm, vibrant, and full of life. Next, let's visit the shaded cocoa plantations of southern Ghana, the birthplace of the chocolate bars you know so well. The harvest season begins with the rhythmic sound of machetes striking through the forest, a sound locals affectionately call go-to, the signal that the golden season has arrived. When the cocoa pods turn deep red or golden yellow, pickers use curved machetes to cut them from the stem and gather them into small piles beneath the trees. There, they split open the pods and remove the ivory-colored beans, wrapped in a sweet mucilaginous pulp. This pulp is what undergoes natural fermentation for 5 to 7 days, during which enzymes break down sugars and acids, releasing hundreds of precursor aroma compounds. Surprisingly, 60 to 70% of chocolate's final flavor is formed at this stage, long before the beans are roasted. Yet, despite the meticulous labor of millions of farmers, cocoa growers earn less than 2% of the final value of the global chocolate industry, while most profits go to processing giants in Europe and North America, where these humble beans are turned into the sweet indulgence that many of their growers have never even tasted. This involves plowing and tilling the soil to a suitable depth, usually between 8 to 12 inches, to promote good root development and drainage. Fertilizer is also an indispensable part for the growth of potatoes. With modern machinery, thousands of potatoes have been covered on hectares of fields. Large farm owners will often invest in automatic irrigation systems. After 20 days, the potato sprouts have grown into green plants. As the plants grow, it is important to monitor for pests and diseases such as potato beetles or leaf blight. When the potato plant flowers, It is a sign that the primary tuber has formed. This stage coincides with the onset of tuber formation, a process in which the plant begins to divert more resources from leaf growth to underground tuber expansion. Potatoes are typically ready for harvest after the plants have flowered and the leaves begin to yellow and die back, usually about 2 to 3 weeks after flowering. It's also crucial to test the firmness of the potato skins to ensure they are sufficiently set and do not get damaged easily when handled. A mechanical harvester can gently lift the potatoes from the ground while separating them from the soil and debris. A windrower may be used beforehand to clear and air dry the potatoes on the ground if weather permits. Because the farm is very large, people need to check the machines carefully to make sure they are working at full capacity. The harvester's speed should be adjusted to suit field conditions and soil moisture to avoid damaging the potatoes. Farmers need to closely monitor the harvesting process to promptly adjust machinery and methods to minimize loss and damage to potatoes. Tons of potatoes are hiding underground. The golden potatoes in the ground are now moving the line. Farmers stand on the back of the cart and sort out the bad potatoes. With modern machinery, it only takes 7 hours to harvest a 5-hectare farm. Potatoes are cured in a controlled environment to develop a firm skin and heal any minor injuries. Such a potato harvester would cost anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. Trucks loaded with potatoes are ready to take the potatoes to the factory. After the harvest, trucks filled with potatoes begin moving to a warehouse about 1 kilometer away. During transportation, farmers need to go slowly so that the potatoes do not get crushed. Potato storage should be maintained at a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius to prevent germination and limit the growth of bacteria and mold. Potatoes should be stored in a dry, well-ventilated place and protected from light to prevent greening and the formation of solanine. Potatoes are transported by automatic conveyor belts to replace human labor. There will be a few workers standing next to the conveyor belt to remove any diseased potatoes. Just like that, tons of potatoes were easily put into storage. If there is no storage, immediately after harvest, farmers will process the potatoes to bring them to the factory. Sand will be screened through soil filter. Potatoes continue their journey to the factory. Potatoes are packaged at the factory to be brought to supermarkets for consumers. First, they are fed into a conveyor belt to be taken to the washing tank. The washing liquid contains chemicals that help remove dirt and make the potatoes smoother and whiter. Then, the potato packages will be packed in fixed weight. Finally, the bags of watered potatoes are transported to supermarkets for sale to consumers. Factories often receive potatoes in bulk from farms. They are usually stored in large bags. The potatoes are then fed onto conveyor belts to begin the production process. The potatoes are first cleaned to remove soil, stones, and other debris. This is typically done using a water bath or mechanical scrubbers. After cleaning, potatoes are sorted by size, weight, and quality to ensure consistency in the final product. Next, the potato skin is peeled. Mechanical peelers usually scrape the skin with an abrasive surface. After peeling, potatoes are inspected manually to remove defective parts. They are put into chemical baths to give them a more attractive color. They are then fed into modern cutting machines to be cut into shapes like slices to make potato chips. They are rinsed with clean water again to ensure no chemicals remain. Looking at these potato slices, do you find them appealing? Cut potatoes are often blanched by immersing them in hot water or steam. Blanching helps to remove excess sugars, reduce microbial load, and preserve color. Post-blanching, potatoes are dried to remove moisture on the surface. This step is crucial for achieving the desired texture in fried products and also helps in extending the shelf life. The dryer uses hot air to circulate around the surface of the potatoes to cook and crisp them. Potatoes will be dried within 15 to 20 minutes. Frying with heat does not require the use of cooking oil, helping to reduce the amount of fat and calories in French fries. Potatoes are crispy on the outside, but may be less crispy than fried in oil. However, this method still retains the moisture and flavor of the potatoes. French fry products are cooled at room temperature or with forced air. Engineers control the entire process through a monitoring system. This process is fully automated by machines. The crispy potato slices are out of the oven. They they are divided into specific portions for packaging. The final products are then packaged in a controlled environment. Packaging is designed to protect the product from air, moisture, and other external factors that could degrade its quality. Packaged products are stored in warehouses at controlled temperatures until they are distributed to retailers or directly to consumers. In addition, the factory has a laboratory available so that professors can measure the safety and nutrition of products before selling them on the market. Macadamia nuts are small, round, and encased in an extremely hard shell that protects the creamy, rich nut inside. When ripe, they turn from green to brown, signaling their readiness for harvest. These nuts thrive in warm, subtropical climates with well-drained soil and ample rainfall, conditions found in places like Hawaii, California, and Florida. Macadamia trees need a frost-free environment, consistent temperatures between 65 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and at least 50 inches of rainfall per year. Hawaii is the largest producer in the U.S., thanks to its volcanic soil and stable climate. Other states like California have attempted macadamia cultivation, but Hawaii remains the leader due to its near-perfect conditions. In the United States, macadamia nuts are primarily grown in Hawaii, which is considered the macadamia capital of the country. Hawaii is home to large commercial farms that contribute significantly to national production. California also has some small-scale macadamia nut farms, particularly in the southern part of the state. Florida, with its warm climate, has seen experimental farming efforts, though on a much smaller scale compared to Hawaii. Macadamia trees take between 5 to 7 years to bear fruit, requiring patience from farmers. However, once they start producing, these trees can live and yield nuts for over 100 years, making them a long-term investment in agriculture. The real challenge in macadamia farming isn't just growing the trees, it's harvesting the nuts efficiently. These nuts fall naturally to the ground when they're ripe, meaning farmers don't have to pick them from the trees. However, gathering millions of pounds of fallen nuts is a different story. That's where modern machinery comes in. Large-scale macadamia farms in America rely on specialized machines to collect nuts quickly and efficiently. Two essential pieces of equipment used in macadamia harvesting are tree shakers and nut sweepers. Tree shakers are one of the most effective tools in modern macadamia harvesting. These powerful machines clamp onto the trunk of a tree and create controlled vibrations, causing any remaining ripe nuts to detach and fall to the ground. Since macadamia nuts naturally drop over time, tree shakers help speed up the process, ensuring that more nuts are available for collection in a shorter period. Once the nuts are on the ground, nut sweepers and collectors take over. These machines operate like giant vacuums, sweeping the orchard floor and efficiently gathering fallen nuts while leaving behind unwanted debris like leaves, twigs, and rocks. The collected nuts are then funneled into large storage bins or transported for further processing. By using these automated collection methods, farmers can handle large harvests quickly and efficiently, reducing the need for manual labor and improving overall farm productivity. The efficiency of machines compared to manual harvesting is staggering. A tree shaker can shake hundreds of trees per day, significantly reducing the need for human labor. Nut sweepers can collect thousands of pounds per hour, whereas hand-picking the same amount would take days. In fact, using industrial harvesting machinery increases efficiency by at least 5 to 10 times compared to traditional hand collection methods. This not only reduces costs, but also allows for a more consistent and timely harvest, ensuring that macadamia nuts reach processing facilities while still at peak quality. The adoption of mechanized harvesting has transformed the macadamia nut industry, allowing American farmers to compete on a global scale. By investing in advanced machinery, farms can enhance efficiency, maintain consistent yields, and meet the growing consumer demand for this highly sought-after nut. While smaller farms may still use manual harvesting methods for specialty crops, large-scale operations depend on technology to ensure a successful and profitable harvest season. Despite the advantages of industrial machines, some smaller farms and specialty growers still prefer hand-picking macadamia nuts. This method is slower, but ensures careful selection of only the best quality nuts. For premium, organic, or specialty nuts, this labor-intensive approach remains popular. Once collected, macadamia nuts must go through a rigorous process before they are ready for consumption. The first step in this process is cleaning. Freshly harvested nuts are covered in a sticky husk that must be removed to prevent spoilage and ensure quality. This is done using specialized dehusking machines that strip away the outer husk, leaving only the hard inner shell exposed. Removing the husk is a crucial step as it prevents mold growth and improves the efficiency of the subsequent drying process. After dehusking, the nuts still contain a significant amount of moisture, which must be reduced to extend shelf life and maintain optimal texture. The nuts are placed in drying chambers where they are exposed to controlled temperatures ranging between 104 to 22 degrees for several days. This gradual drying process lowers the moisture content from approximately 30% to around 1.5%, ensuring that the nuts remain fresh and crisp for an extended period. Once dried, the next challenge is cracking the nuts open. Macadamia nuts have one of the hardest shells of any nut variety, making them difficult to process manually. Commercial cracking machines utilize high-pressure systems to break the shells without damaging the delicate kernel inside. This step requires precision to ensure maximum yield while preserving the integrity of the nut. Following cracking, the nuts are sorted and graded based on size, color, and overall quality. Only the highest quality nuts are selected for direct sale as whole macadamia nuts, while smaller or imperfect ones are processed into macadamia oil or other derivative products. A significant portion of macadamia nuts undergoes a meticulous shelling process to extract the valuable kernels inside. Since macadamia shells are among the hardest in the nut world, cracking them requires powerful machinery designed for precision and efficiency. The process begins with automated shelling machines equipped with high-pressure rollers that apply just enough force to break the shells without damaging the delicate nuts inside. These machines use calibrated pressure sensors to ensure that only the shells crack, leaving the kernels intact. After cracking, the nuts pass through an air separator that efficiently removes shell fragments, ensuring a clean final product. Some facilities even employ optical sorting technology, which uses cameras and sensors to detect and separate any remaining shell pieces. This advanced processing guarantees that only high-quality macadamia kernels make it to market, ready for roasting, packaging, or further processing into various macadamia-based products. Once sorted, the nuts proceed to packaging. Some are sold as in-shell macadamia nuts, while others are fully shelled and vacuum sealed to retain freshness.